this week's segment of Advice. Ryan Townend joins me from William Joseph Communications, and we are talking about marketing to Generation Z.
Gen Z.
Where do we go from Gen Z? We're out of the alphabet.
I don't know. Maybe
Who are they?
Exactly. So Gen Z is the generation born after 1995.
Okay, making us feel old here.
I know, that's right.
So tell me a little bit about them, specifically how technology and all the content that they consume really affects the way we market to them.
So Gen Z has grown up in a time where they never had a phone with a cord that hung up on the wall. So when you say, well, you go back in the 80s and 90s and we were marketing to teenagers, you'd always see kids on the phone and the parents would be yelling, hang up, hang up, hang up the phone. The term hang up the phone wouldn't even be relevant to this generation because they would have never done it.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about content being king, you said. How so?
Yeah, so this generation is a little different. They're growing up with the internet, with the iPhones, and they're just listening to stories. They resonate with brands that are communicating and telling them stories because Gen Z wants to buy into the brand that they're using. They don't want to be sold.
How do you make it so that your message is valuable to them, like you said?
Yeah, so content is king. So what is really important is that we tell stories that are compelling, inspiring, and cause the audience to sit up, take note, and act, right? So we have to relate to them.
Now, there's so much competition. You were saying, you know, how they can scroll on their phones. How do you get your message to stand out from the competition?
Oh, goodness. So what did they say? Not just Gen Z, but our whole world is becoming, our attention spans are becoming less and less. I think it's like 8 seconds now when we look at media, that's how quick we are with flipping and scrolling. So it really has to stand out. You have to use imagery, fonts, typography, and compelling stories to make them stop and read it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned utilize grassroots content. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the thing is this generation is more apt to ask their buddies, an influencer that's using the product. They really want to have a sense that they're buying into something that their peers are using and that they can stand behind.
Okay.
So it's really important to have authentic branding for Gen Z.
Okay. Lastly, we kind of already chatted about this, but get to the point, because you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose them. So the whole thing is the younger generations are being slammed really hard for having low attention spans. But what that also means is they're amazing multitaskers. They're going to get a lot done really quickly because they have the ability to flip, flip, flip. So the whole point is get to the point, tell them what you need them to know, and move it on.
Okay. Let's summarize this all. What are the takeaways from marketing to Generation Z?
So Gen Z is an amazing generation. It's going to be a huge generation. It's larger in numbers than the millennials and the baby boomers. We have to absolutely dial into their behaviors and habits. We have to understand that those people are flippers. They're going to read content really quickly and move it on. And you have to have authentic, compelling stories to tell them to get them to buy into your brand and product.
Okay, I love it. Ryan, thank you so much for coming in this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.